Hello there, strangers of the internet. Today I thought I'd share with you my completely irrelevant opinions of every president in the entire history of the entire United States. Uh, we've got here, every president from the beginning to end, from 0 AD, starting with Jesus Christ. Now, one thing we don't do on this channel, this is going to be completely serious, okay? We don't do humor. That's not something that we do here. Humor's not allowed, okay? Now, Jesus Christ, our first president in about 0 AD, he was a good man. As he says, one of his commandments is, "Thou shalt not lie with thy neighbor," and that was because, well, Jesus Christ was a pimp. Your neighbor is his girl. You cannot lay with her unless you pay for her. So, in my mind, Jesus Christ, great entrepreneur, pretty good president. I'd probably put him at A tier. But as we all know, Jesus Christ was actually black, and black Jesus is actually way better. He gets S tier, okay? So now our next president, only 1700 years later, because Jesus Christ lived a very, very long time, and everybody loved him as our God, Emperor, President, George Washington. George Washington, well, let's be honest, okay? He had some slaves. He wasn't a perfect president. He wasn't the worst president either. Everybody loved him. Basically ran unopposed. I'd probably give him A tier. He said no parties, and everybody partied anyway. Everybody partied. Nobody followed his wisdom, so A tier. A tier for George Washington. Next president we got here is John Adams. Now, John Adams came right after George Washington, and he was a lawyer. He did not like slaves. He didn't keep slaves, okay? And I mean, what else really is there to say about him? He was another founding father. All the founding fathers in my book are gonna get A tier. They were pretty good. Thomas Jefferson, he owned slaves, but hey, he wrote the Declaration of Independence, which is like a big freedom thing. So freedom by hypocrisy. I like that. Big balls right there. I think he's a solid A tier. Now next we got Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was pretty epic, okay? He decided, I'm gonna kill the banks. I'm gonna stab them right in the throat, and I'm gonna watch them bleed out and die, which is pretty much the same thing that he did to his wrists, because he self-medicated and he decided, I need to cut my wrists because there are all these toxins in my body. I need to let them out. Andrew Jackson, pretty good. I put him in S tier because he was pretty based, okay? Next president, right after Andrew Jackson, we got Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, pretty interesting guy. He was also a big freedom believer, just like most of these guys on here. The thing that makes Abraham Lincoln different is that he believed in freedom through authoritarianism, okay? He believed in freedom through taking away rights, suspending habeas corpus. I think that's pretty base. So it's like libertarianism by authoritarianism. That's pretty cool. I think he gets a B tier. Now, Boombox Lincoln, on the other hand, way cooler. He said, yeah, Civil War stuff, not really my thing. I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of parties. Yeah, I think, parties are awesome. So, S tier for Boombox Lincoln right over here. This guy here, not many people know about him, William Henry Harrison. He was such a manly badass that he decided for his inauguration speech, he was going to go shirtless, completely naked, just stand there in the rain, in the snow, in the hail, all three at the same time, and he was going to give a pretty long, pretty manly speech and tell everybody, yeah, I'm tough, I'm your new president, okay? This guy, he didn't live very long. He got pneumonia because he was dumb, and he died 31 days into his presidency. S tier, best president we ever had because he got nothing done. This guy, Ulysses S Grant, you might know him. You've probably seen him on the $50 bill. Everybody says, oh yeah, he's pretty cool because Civil War, right? He helped end the Civil War. Yeah, but as a president, which is what this list is about, didn't do so well. He let his buddies into a whole bunch of different positions, and it was no good. It was no bueno. So I'd probably put him at D tier. D tier. Sorry, bro. I know you helped with the war and everything, but you were a bad president. Now, this guy, Grover Cleveland, not much to say about him. Well, actually, he's from New York. I like that. He's from Buffalo. Uh, he was the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Basically, nobody liked him after his first term, so they said, screw this guy, we're going to get Willie McKinley in here. And then after 4 years, they were like, oh shit, we made a terrible, terrible decision, we got to get this guy back in office. So pretty cool, he's got a claim to fame. I'd probably put him at C tier, C plus tier, maybe B tier, but I'm going to put him at C for now. This guy, Teddy Roosevelt, everybody loves Teddy. It's where the whole teddy bear thing comes from. You know, he's got the famous saying, speak loudly and carry a tiny stick, as we do in 2019. Do not offend people. Oh, this is 2020. Well, not 2019 anymore. I'm still living in the past, apparently. This guy, I think he's pretty based. Created the national park system. I'd probably give him A tier. He's pretty good. This guy, don't like him. Look at that face. Look at that hat. I mean, this guy, what was his name? Woodrow Wilson. Yeah, that's what it was. He went senile. That's why we now have laws, or not laws. I mean, it might be an amendment. Yeah. He towards the end of his presidency, old age got the better of him, and he didn't do so well. He, his campaign slogan for the 1916 or 1917 election, something like that, was, he kept us out of the war. Then a few months after that, he brought us into the war. I'd probably put him at, I don't know. I don't really think he belongs in F tier, so probably E tier. Not the greatest president. Calvin Coolidge. This guy basically single-handedly stopped the Great Depression. How? By doing literally nothing. He just did nothing. He did absolutely nothing about it. S tier president. He's the greatest president of all time, basically. Undoubtedly, unchallenged. FDR, Roosevelt, he was pretty cool, you know. The press decided not to publish pictures of him in a wheelchair because they thought that the public wouldn't like that. He was the only president to serve 3 terms. A lot of his programs were considered unconstitutional, but some of them are still around today. He brought our country through World War II, almost to the end of it, until this next guy took over. I'll put him at B tier. You know, I think he did a lot of things right, but he also did equally a lot of things not okay. So B tier for him. Harry Truman, he was made fun of for being a girl when he was a little girl. I mean, a little boy. A little boy. Well, basically, people made fun of him because he was very feminine. So he grew up and he was like, oh, I'm going to be this tough guy. I'm going to be president. I'm going to show them one day. And then he decided to nuke all the Japanese people because they all look like girls anyway. So garbage tier instantly. Garbage tier president. Sorry. You killed a bunch of people in a nuke. And personally, I don't agree with that. If you guys have a different opinion, you guys think it's necessary, then, I mean, your opinion is irrelevant. You're going to get sent to the camps anyway soon enough. So garbage tier. No question, no doubt about it. John F. Kennedy, I mean, what is there to say about him? Look at that face. It's beautiful. On a serious note, though, after the Cuban Missile Crisis, he was the only one to start talks with the Soviets for peace and whatchamacallit, settling down, you know, less escalation, you know, the opposite of escalation, de-escalation, that's the word I'm looking for. Overall, S tier, I think. You know, he handled the crises very well. He was very inspirational and started negotiations, talks for peace and prosperity and, you know, all that good stuff like that. Too bad he didn't make it through his first term, though. That kind of sucked. Richard Nixon. I think this guy gets kind of a bad rap. Yeah, he did some bad things, but he got all of the things that he promised to do done in his, you know, in what do you call it? When presidents campaign, they say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and he did all A, B, C, and D. So probably B tier. Sorry, Nixon. You could have been better if you didn't have that major, you know, whole impeachment scandal thing going on. This guy, Jimmy Carter. The only thing I have to say about him is that he ran a peanut farm. He's peanut boy to me. B tier. I like this man. Peanut dude. Bill Clinton. My favorite thing that he ever said was, depends on what the definition of the word is. So, instantly C tier, I guess. He did some good things for the economy. Nah, yeah. Actually, no. I'll put him at B tier. He was pretty funny, actually. Pretty funny guy. Uh, Depends on what your definition of the word is. This guy, George Bush, uh, quite a guy. Now let's watch this drive. Well, my favorite quote from him is, "Too many doctors, too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country." Great guy, great president, but we all know he wasn't even really the president, so he just not even on the list. Dick Cheney, on the other hand, E tier. Sorry, I'm gonna actually put you in F tier. That war was just a terrible mistake. There were no weapons of mass destruction. We all know that you were really in charge. Bye bye, George Bush. Next on, Barack Obama, the first president to not be an American. I mean, nope, he definitely was. I mean, he had a birth certificate. I believe that. Some people don't. Barack Obama. Snowden was a big whistleblower under his administration. Not the greatest, in my opinion. I mean, that's not a good scandal to have on your watch. He was also buddies with Hillary. Hillary's not so great, but he also did a lot of pretty good things in his administration. So I'd say he's middle of the line. He's not great. He's not horrible. I'd put him at C tier. This man, Mr. Trump, last on the list. I mean, there's too much to say about him because he says so much. His tweets are very funny. I mean, objectively very funny. Whether you agree with him or you disagree with him, you look at it and you either say, look at this bullshit, or you look at it and you say, this will trigger people. Very funny guy. But as a president, we're not judging him based on how funny he is. We're judging him based on how good or bad of president he is. And as president, the only thing that I can really give him credit for is he almost was able to make a deal with North Korea. He was so close, and then he said, and you know what, sometimes you just gotta walk away. And he humiliated them, and now they're even more angry with us. So, sorry, Trump, you're not really the greatest president ever. Sorry, I'm gonna put you at F tier. Sorry, not so great. But let's be honest, people, all these guys are garbage tier because what the presidency is essentially is the executive branch of the federal government, and what that means is that they have the authority to use violence against everybody. So basically, it's anti-freedom, it's anti-liberty. So everybody's in garbage tier. That's it. That's my official rating of all the presidents of the United States ever, and it cannot be contradicted by anyone ever. This is final. This is an objective opinion. That's it.